And this is my review for Tron Legacy 3 3/4 inch Coreline Rinzler figure. I was a real big fan of Rinzler in the movie. I thought he was an absolutely awesome character. Very cold, very robot-like, and just a really awesome character. And the guy that played him, he's a stunt actor, and I forget his name right now, but he pulled off some really, really incredible stunts. Very, very cool. All sorts of backflips and acrobatic stuff and high-flying kicks. Just a really, really awesome stunt actor. And I really, really like the work of stunt actors, as I mentioned in my 3 3/4 inch Snake Eyes review. So that was very, very cool for me. I really, really like that about Rinzler. Overall, I really like the figure as well. I definitely think that I prefer the 3 3/4 inch Tron figures to the 6-inch figures. Not to say that the 6-inch figures aren't cool. I'll definitely be picking up a couple of the 6-inch figures. But in my opinion, these guys definitely have better posability. And in my opinion, the gimmick on these guys, I think, is a little bit better. Again, not to say that the 6-inch line's gimmick isn't cool or anything, but I definitely think that the 3 3/4 inch line's gimmick is better. But that's just my personal opinion. It's all the personal preference, but I personally prefer the 3 3/4 inch figures to the 6-inch figures. Anyway, moving on. You can't see this guy has some very, very nice detailing, which is nice. All sorts of panel lines and very nice paint apps. He does also have a very film-accurate head sculpt. It's kind of neat to note that in the movie he actually has a black glass piece covering his face, so you can't see his face. What's kind of neat is you can kind of tell it's not really showing up on camera as well as I would have liked, but you can see that the back of his head sculpt is molded in the same black plastic as the rest of his body. Then they mold the head in this very nice glossy black glass piece, or not black glass piece, plastic piece to mimic that black glass piece. There we go. Which I thought was really neat. They could have just gone the easy route and just molded it all as one piece and not had the separate piece to look like the glass plate that he had in the movie. But I thought that was really, really neat that they decided to go film accurate. It's a very, very nice on Spin Master's part. Really, really cool. He also does have some very nice detailing in the back, which, as most people who collect 3 3/4 inch line figures know, a lot of the detailing gets nixed in the back. So I was really, really impressed with how much detailing they actually added to the back. I thought that was really, really awesome. Very, very nice detailing and paint apps on this guy, which is nice because I always like my 3 3/4 inch figures to be detailed and painted nicely. Anyway, for posability on this guy, his head does rotate left and right. It can kind of go up and down. If you force it, you can make it go up. But I wouldn't recommend it because it'll probably stretch out the ball joint and cause it to pop off. He does rotate 360 degrees at the shoulders. His shoulders go in and out. He does rotate at the upper bicep, and he does bend at the elbow. Sadly, there's no rotational joint at the elbow, which I really, really would have liked to have seen. It does kind of help that he does have this bicep swivel, so when you want his arm out a little bit more, you can use that bicep swivel. But again, I think an elbow swivel, as well as a bicep swivel, would have really helped on this guy. But he does rotate at the wrist, which is nice. There's no ab or waist articulation, just due to the gimmick. He does have the notorious Hasbro ball joint system that Hasbro uses on their 3 3/4 inch figures and some of their 6-inch figures. His legs go in and out, and if you rotate it around, you can make his legs go forward and back. I'm personally not too big a fan of the Hasbro joint. I'm not as hateful on it as some people are. I know a lot of people just absolutely cannot stand it, but I just personally don't like it. I wish that they had gone maybe the G.I. Joe Rise of Cobra route and had their ball jointed, or not ball jointed. I wish that they had done their legs on the Tron figures like they did on the G.I. Joe Rise of Cobra figures. But oh well, they didn't go that way, so I guess there's nothing really you can do about it, which is a bit of a shame, but oh well. Anyway, his legs do go in and out and forward and back if you rotate it around. He does bend at the knee, and his knee joint is actually very well hidden, which is always nice. I really like it when knee joints are hidden nicely. But anyway, he does bend at the knee, and he rotates at the knee. His feet go back and forth. They're on a pivot, and he does rotate 360 degrees at the foot. So a lot of nice poses you can get from this guy. Not as many as I would have liked. Again, I think that if they had added an elbow rotational joint and some waist articulation, or maybe even upper ab articulation, I think would have fixed most of the problems I have with his posability. But you can't get a lot more poses out of this guy than the 6-inch Rinzler figure, so gotta be grateful for that. Now, he does have the gimmick. you can kind of see right here on the back where his identity disc would go in the movie. There's a little button right here. And if you push it, it causes his chest to light up. And the light is actually really, really bright. It's not as dark in here as I would like it to be, but I'll kill my lights and show off just how bright it actually is, because it's a very, very bright light. As you can see, you can also kind of see where the paint wasn't added as thickly as it needed to be, so it kind of shines through. But I just think it's really, really awesome looking. Very, very cool. Very nice gimmick. I really, really like that gimmick. Again, I think it's better than the 6-inch line figures. Not to say that the 6-inch line figures aren't cool. Now, it does come with a ton of accessories. First off, he comes off with this very, very nice display stand, which does have 2 pegs, and Rinzler has pegs on the bottom of his feet, so you can put them on the stand if you choose. It's obviously molded to look like Rinzler's identity disc, which I think is really, really cool. Very, very nice stand. Again, not a necessary accessory. Most 3 3/4-inch stands aren't, but I don't think it was a nice touch to add that in. He does have these. He does have his 2 batons, which do have some semi-nice detailing on them. Not as detailed as I would have liked them, and not painted as nicely as I would have liked, but oh well, you still get some nicely detailed batons, which are really cool. They are made of a rubbery plastic, which is a little bit sad, but oh well, what are you going to do? He does come with his 2 identity discs. You can see they're painted to match up Rinzler's color scheme, since they are orange. Very, very cool. I would have liked it maybe if they had made this outer rim orange as well, but oh well, what are you going to do? Very, very nice detailing. It's not really showing up well on camera, just how detailed they are, because they are so small, but they do have some very, very nice detailing. He can't hold the identity disc. He kind of holds it at an angle, which kind of bugs me, but oh well, what are you going to do? I guess you could customize it and trim the disc down a little bit, but I'm not going to do it. He also can hold the batons in his hand, and also you can kind of see on his legs, there's some little posts right here. There's some holes on the batons, so you can fit the batons on his legs. There's a certain way you have to do it because they're molded in. There we go. So yeah, you can put the batons on his legs, which I thought was really, really cool. He does come with this rather odd baton that is connected via this orange piece. I'm guessing it's meant, in the movie, to summon the light cycles. What they do is they basically just take the batons apart, and the light cycle just comes forth from that. But I'm guessing that's what it's meant to be. Maybe that means we're going to get his own themed light cycle, which would be really, really cool, but I'm not really sure what it is. It is kind of a weird looking accessory, so I generally don't use it with him. I generally just give him his 2 batons, and I give him his identity discs, and I think that he just looks cool that way. So for a real quick size comparison, just to give you an idea, I don't have many 3 3/4-inch figures to compare him to, so I'll just compare him to a standard 3 3/4-inch figure, which I showed off earlier, my G.I. Joe Rise of Cobra Snake Eyes. So you can see he's actually a little bit taller, which is kind of neat. I really, really like it, that he's actually taller. Very, very cool. So overall, I highly recommend this guy. They are a bit expensive. I actually only splurged and got this guy for $8.50 when the store was closing down, so that they had him marked down for 20% off. But overall, very, very cool. Definitely worth, I think, $5 or $8, but I definitely would recommend waiting for these guys to go on clearance, because I do think that they are worth $8, but not $10. Maybe not even $8, maybe 6 or 7 would be more like it. But they are overall really, really cool, so I definitely recommend them once they go on clearance. They're very, very nice, very, very cool. So there you go, my look at Tron Legacy 3 3/4-inch Coreline Rinzler figure. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe.